Hey,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Hi, everyone.
I'm good. Today we're going to talk about nutrition post-pregnancy. I'm
Yeah,
super excited and this is something really, really important.
today we are discussing nutrition post-pregnancy, and this topic actually is divided into two sections. So you have women who are not breastfeeding, and you have women who are breastfeeding. When it comes to non-breastfeeding women, it's pretty simple, nutrition post-pregnancy. They just have to go back to their regular lifestyles, but they have to be as healthy as possible. What they need to make sure that they don't do is not to skip meals, not to skip their postnatal multivitamins, to exercise as soon as the doctor allows it, to be regularly active and drinking a lot of water, and like the basics of nutrition. So eating healthy, 3 meals per day, not skipping, because usually after pregnancy, women tend to sometimes tend to develop a few deficiencies. So it's really important to be having all the healthy food that they must. And if they were taking any supplementations during pregnancy, they should be continuing them the first period after pregnancy. Usually, the doctors would recommend for how long, يعني, you have to take your supplements
Yeah,
after giving birth. So when it comes to non-breastfeeding women, weight loss is usually easier because usually because they can eat, like they can go back to eating a little bit lower than they were eating
mm,
during pregnancy. And as soon as the mom has two regular cycles of period, the weight loss is usually very like faster.
okay,
So usually they don't have any problems with weight loss. When
okay.
it comes to the second part of post-pregnancy, which is the most important one, because there are so many topics and so many nutrients that we need to focus on, is breastfeeding women. So
Mm,
when we talk about breastfeeding women, it's really different because they need to produce milk, and this production of milk requires nutrients and requires a lot of things that we're going to discuss now.
okay.
So I will discuss later on why weight loss is harder when it comes to breastfeeding women. But first, I will discuss the nutrition that is needed post-pregnancy, straight to the point. So basically, when we talk about nutrition during breastfeeding, what we focus on most is milk production and milk supply, and not weight loss.
Mm,
So we
okay.
really don't care how much weight the woman is losing, as long as her milk supply is good, because that is what we care about the most.
Mm,
A milk supply is usually affected by four major things. There are
okay.
other things that could affect milk supply, like weather could affect it, but the most important four are suckling, the frequency of suckling, of course, maternal hydration, maternal nutrition, and support system. So support system, I'm gonna go with it very fast. If women don't have enough support from family members, from their spouses or their partners, usually it's really hard for them to carry on breastfeeding. It could be one of the major reasons why the milk supply decreased. Although she's eating properly, the suckling is normal, the hydration is okay, but it could be a cause for a decrease in milk supply. Now we go back to the main things that we need to discuss. So the frequency of suckling, I'm sure all of your listeners know what the importance of suckling, but I'm gonna talk about it very fast. So suckling basically is the stimulation of the nerves. And when you stimulate the nerves, what happens is the message goes through to the brain, to the through the spinal cord, to the hypothalamus, and then to the pituitary gland, which releases the two major hormones, prolactin and oxytocin. So basically, prolactin is the hormone that basically
Produce.
yes, exactly, produces milk, and oxytocin is the hormone that lets it down. So
Mm,
we need both to be acting properly for a woman to be able to breastfeed and to have
mm,
milk,
mm,
actually. So this is really not related to nutrition. Now that we're done with both these two, we're gonna switch to hydration and
and
nutrition.
nutrition.
Hydration is super important for breastfeeding women because obviously milk is like requires a lot of water to be able to, your body requires a lot of water to be able to produce this milk. So
Mm-hmm.
usually women who are breastfeeding are required to increase their water intake, and they will feel very thirsty when they do anyways. So this is one of the signs that she's actually letting go milk in the early hours. She can tell because she will feel a little bit she will feel thirst when she is breastfeeding.
This is related to oxytocin actually, specifically for you to know. لأنه Pam talked about two hormones, oxytocin and prolactin, and the thirst comes from oxytocin. Okay, so this is why you'll feel thirsty. Anyway, so it's good. It will motivate you to
Yeah.
drink.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, women need to be drinking more quantities of water. And as I said in the previous session, they need to monitor their urine color. So it has to be clear, transparent, not fully transparent, yellow,
Mm.
see-through, no odor throughout the day. So this is the most important part. And they need to be drinking before they breastfeed, during breastfeeding, and after breastfeeding. Now we're gonna switch to nutrition, which is like the most important part. So when we talk about postnatal nutrition, we talk about like the most major uh, things to, or nutrients to look out for milk supply as well, are the energy, so the total calories that a woman is eating, the proteins, omega-3, omega-6, vitamin D, and zinc. So these are the 5 things that we look out for milk supply in particular. The energy needs to be increased, just like in pregnancy, because for milk supply, for every 100 milliliters of milk, the woman uses 85 calories to produce it. So she will definitely need around 300 to 400 extra calories per day. And the minimum she should be eating is 1,800 calories per day versus what we usually give as a minimum for women of 1,200 calories per day.
For non-breastfeeding, you mean, right?
No, yes, for non-breastfeeding, exactly,
Okay.
the 1,200. So what happens, I found this as a mom myself, I found this to be the hardest thing to achieve after giving birth because you are so overwhelmed. You have no time for yourself. You have a new baby to take care of. Everything is messed up. You don't know where to start your day, what to cook, how to take care of yourself. You're breastfeeding, pumping, cleaning, feeding, sleep, putting to bed.
Exactly.
So a lot of the times, and I found it really hard because I used to tell my clients, like, you need to eat this quantity. But after I gave birth, it was like, oh my God, this quantity is really hard to achieve after giving birth. So
Yeah.
I apologize for everyone, just in case. But really, so it's really a must to have everything planned ahead of time, to
Thanks.
have
I was
someone to
waiting for
support
that.
you. Yes, to have everything planned ahead of time to be able to perform well and to survive the first 2 months post pregnancy. And
Um,
yeah, tell me.
yeah, sorry, by preparing ahead of time, you mean having a meal plan, freezing stuff, having the support of someone, getting you food and stuff like that, right?
All of the above. For me
Mm.
personally, I was in Canada, so I delivered in Canada. It was a completely different experience. I was totally alone. I had the support of my husband, of course. Thank God he was there the whole time. So it was facilitated for me.
Mm.
But if you are in your own country, it's really easy to find a little bit of support. So you can have your mom sending you food 3 times per week, you having frozen a few meals ahead of time, like early on in your 7 months or your 8 months, or when you're still able
Mm.
to like do everything and prepare
Mm.
everything and
Mm.
freeze everything ahead of time. And yeah, basically that's it.
I
Because
also tell my moms, if you want, you can also have a meal plan. Let's say you're saying, let's say Monday. Monday, I want to have eggs omelette in the morning. Okay.
all right.
I'm giving an example. And then, your husband comes and says, Pam, شو عبالك تتروق اليوم الصبح? And you did not sleep well last night. You're tired. And
Mm.
then you're like, تعرف شو؟ خلص بلاها خليني نام أنا كتير تعبانة. And this is you skipping a meal. So, and
Exactly.
which is very important. So this is why I tell my moms, plan ahead. Like the husband would come and see, عبالك omelette. Okay, يلا, I'm gonna
Mm.
do it. And then once it's done, and then I come to you and give you an omelette, أكيد هتاكليهم. you know, you'll
exactly.
be motivated to eat it. So have a meal plan set in advance كتير بتعمل فرق.
Yes, when you said meal plan, I thought you meant getting food from outside. But this is definitely a must for everyone, not only breastfeeding women. Having your
Yeah.
meals planned ahead of time will make
Mm,
it easier for you to do the right choice. Because if you leave
mm,
yourself to the last minute, you will be too hungry, too um, angry actually, because you're too hungry, and you will not make the right choice. You'll just go for whatever is
exactly.
fastest and for the fastest option, basically.
By the way, I started to work on about يعني on this علي أنا يعني
Mm,
حتى صار عندي meal plan كل الجمعة لأنه بلتهي and then I forget to eat and then I become
mm,
angry,
mm.
you know. بعدين باكل حيلا شيء. So إذا كيف
Exactly.
أنا كيف إذا you have a baby and responsibilities, you know what I mean. So أكيد
Mm.
تعمل فرق to have it planned in advance.
Of course, it makes a lot of difference. A lot of difference, Anjad. So, what I would usually recommend is at least doing one week or 10 days ahead of time.
Mm,
In every detail, what you want as fruits in your house, what is for breakfast, for
exactly.
lunch, and for dinner. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. يعني we can have
Definitely.
full as
أكيد.
easy as that. You can have pasta with, but it has to be a little nutritious. But I mean, it can be pasta and yogurt for a day, or full for a day, which is very, very nutritious, by the
Mm,
way.
mm.
So it doesn't have to be like ملوخية and محشي كوسة, like the hard stuff and that
To
require a
do,
lot
yeah.
of work. And these could be like direct, شو بيقولوا? You could ask your mom or your mother-in-law to support you with these hard to do
Yeah.
uh, stews, basically.
Mm, 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 mm.
Exactly. So also, they need to make sure they don't eat less than recommended. They cannot skip meals. So if you are not able to have your breakfast, let's say at 8, this does not mean you skip the breakfast. You can have it at 10. You can have it at
Exactly.
11 and push your day forward. So if you have your breakfast at 11 or 12, you can have your lunch at 3 or 4, and you can have your dinner around 8 or 9, just as long as you have 2 to 3 hours between your dinner and your uh, and when you sleep, you're still fine, and this will not affect the weight loss actually,
Mm,
or
mm,
the weight gain for that
mm,
matter.
mm, mm,
So next thing is the proteins.
mm.
Proteins, just like in pregnancy, are super important also for milk production, obviously. So it's the same recommendation. You need to be adding 25 grams per day per fetus. And it's not really hard to achieve that as long as you're eating a healthy meal plan, if you're not skipping your meals, and if you're eating healthy, I repeat. So
Mm.
if you're replacing healthy meals with yeah, if you're replacing, basically, I'm gonna say it as such, nutritionally dense meals with empty calories, this is where you're gonna be finding a problem. So calories, like achieving the 1,800 from unhealthy choices and choices that don't contain enough vitamins and minerals and whatever your body really needs, will definitely not be the same. So milk
Exactly.
supply will decrease directly.
Mm, mm.
Next is omega-3, omega-6, also like in pregnancy. So I'm gonna just repeat them very fast. Omega-3 is found in fish, in canola oil, and flaxseed oil, soy, and soy oil as well. And omega-6 is usually not hard to be, usually no women or no women have any deficiencies in omega-3. It's really easy to get it because it's available in vegetable oil. So really easy to have it every day. So omega-3 is more important. Having 2 times fish per week will get you the recommendation of omega-3, but you have to make sure that these fish are not high in mercury. So
Mm.
tuna, as we said, 2 cans, not more than that, because it's considered medium in mercury. And sardines are good. Salmon is good as well. Then you have
Okay.
vitamin D. We still have vitamin D and zinc, so very fast.
Mm.
So zinc is available in red meat, in poultry, in oysters, in nuts, beans, soy, whole grains. So it's really diversified. Usually, it's also available in dairy, by the way. So if you're eating properly and healthy, it's easily achievable as well.
Okay.
Vitamin D, usually you need supplementation, especially that breastfeeding babies take their vitamin D from the mom's milk. So let's recap a little bit. So non-breastfeeding women need to supplement their babies with vitamin D. So they need to give them extra vitamin D. As for breastfeeding moms, they need to supplement themselves with vitamin D to be able to give this vitamin D through the milk to the baby. Usually, this is required after 2 months of age. How does the woman know that she's eating properly, she's drinking properly, and her milk supply is enough for her baby? The only way for her to know is the diapers, the wet diapers, and basically the poopy diapers. She has to check. The baby has to have 6 to 8 wet diapers per day. I'm telling you things you already know, but I think everyone will
No,
benefit
so
from this,
yeah, of course.
and definitely babies should have frequent stools, like a minimum of 1 to 3 per day, even more as they grow older. And usually women are able to supply 750 mLs of milk per day during the first 6 months of breastfeeding. And then the production decreases to 600 because the baby will no longer need more than 600 ml per day, especially that at 6 months you start introducing solid foods. So basically, that's the entire nutrition during breastfeeding. For the weight loss, which we had the most questions about, and I left it for last. So the weight loss post-pregnancy is really dependent from woman to woman. So some women lose weight very fast, some women take more time than others, definitely affected by genetics, by how many times they dieted before. So if somebody's weight fluctuated a lot prior to pregnancy and they've done so many diets, so the weight has gone up and down, up and down, up and down, it will be a little bit harder to lose weight post-pregnancy. Even if not breastfeeding, versus someone who hasn't dieted a lot, who started the pregnancy with a normal weight, didn't increase a lot. So it's really, really dependent on how much weight you increased, on like everything. But the issue we find with breastfeeding, we have two types of weight loss during of women during breastfeeding. You have those who feel really hungry while breastfeeding, some of which end up gaining weight, although they should be losing weight because, as I said, milk production actually requires a lot of calories. So supposedly you're supposed to be losing a little bit of weight. And you have those who are okay, not too hungry, and usually lose weight a little bit faster. So what everybody needs to understand, the most important thing to fix this is not to have any goodies at home. So having them there at this period of time when you're really stressed, really just trying to adapt to the new changes in your life,
Lifestyle.
it will make it's like, if I have something at home, like everybody keeps saying you need to have irade, you need to be able to resist, but it's really hard to resist if you are stressed, not sleeping properly. Your baby might sleep regularly and everything normal and you're not stressed, but still the whole change in your lifestyle will make it harder for you to choose healthy options if you have unhealthy options at home. So to help yourself say no from the start, try to not have them in your home at all. And if you needed to have a little bit at home, like really get whatever you feel like having today, enjoy it, and that's it. As I said also last time, if you felt like whatever you felt like having, eat that, enjoy it, and then say, okay, I'm done. I can continue to eating healthy. Because if you don't eat what you want, you will keep thinking about it and
Stuck on your
dreaming of
mind.
it. And it will be, yes, it will literally be stuck on your mind, and you will always you will always keep thinking about it. Oh, I'm not taking this. I really need my chocolate or whatever, or my chips, or because each person likes something in particular. So this is about first tip for to be able to lose weight faster after pregnancy. Second one is that you need to start exercising as soon as the doctor allows it. So by exercising, I don't mean you have to go to the gym. I mean, you can turn on the TV, put on some music, and dance for your baby. You can go down and up the stairs of your building. You can put your baby in a stroller and go down the streets. It's beneficial for you and for the baby because they get to explore everything around them. in Corona time, this is not really doable, but you can use your your corridors or
Exactly.
your terrace if you have any, like,
Exactly.
really, you can just do any type of easy exercise, something that you can do near the place, that you don't
Mm,
have to leave your baby and feel concerned that I'm going to the, because I found that going to the gym, for me personally, especially after pregnancy, was really hard because it required me to get dressed, go to the gym, actually work
leave
out
the
for an
baby.
hour, then come back from the gym, shower, and then be able to take care of my baby. If I do that at home, I have the luxury of just doing the workout and then I can take care of my baby, shower later. It's more flexible for me as a new mom. But
Mm,
exercise is really a must to lose weight and to help the body um, accelerate the weight loss again. Um, so these are the two major points. Of course, the healthy, eating healthy, exercising, drinking properly, like everything we listed before, and as I said, keeping munchies away so that you can resist longer and better.
mm,
So
mm.
that's it, basically.
Amazing. So, Pam, just to summarize and make things like practical for moms listening,
Yeah,
okay? Let's say you have a day, okay? You
yeah.
need to have your 3 meals. What
Mhm.
about snacks? We did not talk about snacks. How
Definitely,
how
you
do you
need three
include?
snacks. So basically, if you look at pregnancy and breastfeeding, they're very similar in
Okay.
what you need to eat. Um, there's something I didn't mention, by the way. I'm gonna give you an example. When we talked about about pregnancy, we talked about that the normal, regular day should be consistent of like two. We said, sorry, one pita bread
Mm,
for breakfast. You need to make sure you have enough proteins in it because you need the proteins for pregnancy. And then we said you need to have a big plate, so for lunch, but one plate is enough. And then you have three snacks per day, and also you repeat your breakfast or your lunch at dinner. When it comes to breastfeeding, it's pretty similar, but you need to increase your carbohydrates intake just a little bit, and you need to make sure also that your calcium, that you're taking enough calcium, that you're taking enough calcium as well during breastfeeding because you're producing milk and you need calcium yourself. So basically, it's pretty similar. You need to not skip any meals, so you need to be taking 3 meals, three snacks, and yeah, that's it.
okay. Okay. Cool. And what about, if you feel like cheating once per week and having a burger? And let's talk realistically, كمان في
Okay.
moms, ما فيهم to maintain, let's say, the healthy lifestyle for like a week, complete
Yeah.
week. And sometimes I get تعبان. I remember I had a mom once, after birth, we were pushing actually. We were pushing, and then she was like, Cynthia, بخلص البوشينج تنزل
Yes, I
مني
want that.
هالبيبي. And I want a burger من عند Burger King, described in details مع size تبع
So,
الفرايز وأي coke. And sometimes you crave stuff and you really want a burger. So how would you include it to make it تبعتي مخبص? You know what I mean?
like, this is exactly what I was telling you when I said if you crave something too much and you don't
Okay.
eat it, this will happen. So,
Mm.
for me, why didn't she have the Burger King prior? Like, she could have had it. Okay,
Oh
it's
no, she
not a
had it.
healthy,
She had
but
it.
still
It's
she
just
was
that
craving
long
it.
hours of labor, and then after, while
Eh,
breastfeeding, she had
yeah, yeah,
she
yeah,
was the
yeah. It's
type of
normal.
patient who was hungry. You know what I mean? So إذا
Okay,
بدنا to control يعني تقريبا we can say once per week نظمت. عرفت شو قصدي؟
yes. Okay, Anna, I need to explain something, but
Mm,
because people tend to think that healthy food is not tasteful, but a
mm.
burger can be healthy. So
Yeah.
if you go to the laham and you tell him, please, I need a burger that lower in fat, or let's say you got it the way it is, but you grilled it, you didn't add the cheese to it, you had your salad with light mayo, you had a little bit of French fries, a little bit of ketchup, that's not going to be a big issue.
And I'm
But the
specifically
problem is,
talking about ordering outside. You know what I
yes, so
mean?
if you want to eat something that's unhealthy once, that's not an issue. Nobody can live, like, people look at me sometimes and say, when I first met Karim, I'm gonna tell you the story. This is really funny. So we were talking, we were ordering something, and he said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I want McDonald's." And he went like, "What? You want McDonald's?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "But you're a dietitian." I'm like, "Yeah, so what am I, a rabbit? I eat only like vegetables and lettuce and that's it. So what if I ate McDonald's? So he went crazy, like, how are you even eating this, man? You know how bad it is. But I'm also human. I know how bad it is, and I know how many times should I be taking this during this month, and how many times, what to do after it to
One.
replace and to make it up so that I continue to maintain my body. So basically here we have to look at things from two different perspectives. For those who don't want to lose weight anymore, who have lost the weight, if they have a burger or a pizza or whatever they feel like having, or like heavy fast food or diner food, all they need to do is make sure that they decrease their sorry.
ماكدو مش بس ماكدو، برجر كينج كمان should sponsor the
عن جد
session.
دعاية
هلا
لاتنين.
بنخلص اللايف وكنا بنطلب ماكدو.
Inception, eh? So basically what happens is if you are
Make sure to tag us
maintaining
if you eat. Sorry.
عن جد, please send us photos.
يا الله. Yeah,
All right,
sorry
so
قطعتك.
معلي. So let me explain the difference. If you're someone who's maintaining your weight and you ate this burger, you don't have to really do a lot of changes afterwards to maintain, because for you, I said this also, as I remember last week, for you to add a kilogram of weight, you
Yeah.
need extra 7,000 calories. So if you did not have lunch and instead of lunch you are having this burger, as high in calories as that might be, it will not affect weight gain per se. Okay, you will still maintain your weight as long as you are eating healthy afterwards. But if you are someone who wants to lose weight, this is where you need to be careful as to the frequency of ordering out. So if you are ordering out 3 times per week and all these 3 times are heavy fast food options, then you're going to be adding 500 calories here, 500 calories there, and at the end of the day, by a month's time, you will not be losing any weight, although you are using calories to produce milk, but you are also gaining calories from the negative, from the yes, from the negative options, basically, from the unhealthy, yes, this is the term I want to use, from the unhealthy options that are included frequently in your plan. So basically, this is how you need to know how you go by this.
So it's all about counting calories and making sure that you know per day you did not exceed the limit.
Look, I really don't like calorie counting personally. I'm gonna talk about this soon. I have an IGTV coming soon about this, about the difference between mindful eating and
Yeah,
calorie
exactly.
counting. So mindful eating in Arabic literally means الأكل بالوعي. يعني I am fully aware of what I'm eating, of where I'm sitting, of what's going on around me, of all the triggers that made me eat this. So basically, personally, I prefer, and this is what I do with all my clients, I prefer that we work on understanding what we're eating and why we're eating and the reasons behind the craving. Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Am I sleepy? Am I tired? Do I need support? And instead I'm like, eating this chocolate because I need some emotional support. Am I really tired? And this is why I feel like, because if you're tired, you feel hungry. If you're angry, you feel hungry. If you're happy, you feel hungry. We associate food, unfortunately, with a lot of feelings. So if we are more aware of how we're eating instead of literally like counting our calories, then this will help us. Like, you need a combination of both for sure. You need to be aware of how many
Exactly.
calories you're
لأنه هلا
eating
I'm
as well.
thinking إنه إيه إذا عنا 1800 calorie to eat per day while breastfeeding, for example, then I need to know if I'm reaching that, through counting calories.
Okay,
فهمتي شو
هلا
قصدي؟
we usually would recommend the easiest solution is having someone supporting you during this time. So this is why
Exactly.
dietitians exist. Because you literally need someone just to give you the support and guide you to the proper basically to the proper eating. So she will help
And
you.
hold you accountable. يعني sometimes
Yes,
when someone is holding you accountable بتتحمس أكتر and you cheat less. يعني عم بحكي أنا مثلا personally
of
I
course.
feel like if someone is holding me accountable for the diet, then I would feel like okay, I'm لا عندي روح اخد وزني اخر
Of course.
الشهر. عرفت شو قصدي؟
Like even me, when I want to lose weight, rarely, but when I want to lose weight, I usually talk to my dietitian friends and I go like, listen, Lena, I don't know if you're
I need
listening,
support.
but Lena is the most is the dietitian I most ask of. Like Lena, because we do it reciprocally. So Lena, I need your help. So she checks up on me every like 10 days. Sure, how are you doing? I know, do you need any emotional support? Everything okay? Even if I know everything, usually it's really hard to apply everything all the time. So I think everybody agrees on this. Like each professional in his field has sometimes it's not like I don't apply everything. To be clear, I apply everything, but sometimes I need the push, and the push you
Support.
don't find it. Yes, exactly. I need someone to just check up on me. Are you
Mm,
okay? Do you need anything? Are you finding
mm,
trouble? Sometimes just talking about it,
mm, mm.
just like in post-pregnancy problems and postpartum blues and everything that you go through in life, the more you talk about it with people, the more experience you will gain from them and they will gain from you. So it's the same for us. So me as a
Exactly.
dietitian, I have a different approach from other dietitians. So if I talk to her and I go like, listen, I'm having this problem. My for example, Ray is not eating this avocado, for example. Okay, so what are you doing? Maybe she could give me a solution that she tried with her baby. So it's really, I believe in experts um, not competing and instead working together,
Exactly.
because we need to deliver one message to the people. That's it.
Mm, exactly.
Yeah,
Thanks, Pam. So we
you're
have
very welcome.
question. So question, after birth, when can a breastfeeding mom start dieting to lose the pregnancy weight without it affecting the milk?
Okay, usually we don't recommend dieting, but we
Dieting, yeah.
yes, dieting. So
Mm,
again, mindful eating. If she's but let me explain. I've worked with so many breastfeeding women and they've lost so much weight without their milk supply ever being affected. So as
exactly.
long as you are guided with someone, with a professional who can tell you how much quantities you can eat of proteins, carbohydrates, to achieve all the needs that you want for the milk supply.
Exactly.
You can lose weight for sure during breastfeeding. Sometimes it takes around a month post pregnancy, post delivery, sorry, to start losing weight. And some women don't require any time and they start losing weight
Mm.
immediately. It's really dependent on
Again,
each
like you
woman.
said, the weight they took during pregnancy, the
Exactly.
pre-pregnancy weight, the lifestyle, كل شيء.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk a little bit here because about foods that are claimed to increase milk supply. These are called galactagogues, by the way.
Yes.
So galactagogues again are synthetics or plant-based sources that increase and maintain milk supply. The only galactagogues that are approved by the American Dietetic Association are fennel, fenugreek, asparagus, goat's rue, milk thistle, and we also have anise.
Okay.
Okay, but all of these, we don't have enough studies on them, on how much you should be taking
Mm.
and on how are they affecting milk supply. So we only know that they do affect milk supply, and you can find a lot of liquid um, combination of all
Yeah.
to that you can add to your water, or you can drink
Yeah.
alone to increase your milk supply. Now, on the other side, you have other foods that are claimed to be also galactagogues, but we have nothing that is really 1000% certain. No studies have been done about them. So you have oats, garlic, nuts, whole grains. You have also, these are the most common ones. هلا these are translated into ماما كلي مغلي ماما
Thank you.
آه
هيدا
ماما
حرقة قلبي.
كلي اوتس
كل
كل
مغلي
يوم
اشربي سوب طالع ونازل
اشربي
مغلي
سوب.
وسوب.
Like recently oats has been gaining a lot of كمان of شو بيقولوا of support انه you should be eating oats every day and مغلي and soup salad to explain why these help. So Mathilde, the bone broth helps because it contains proteins and it contains a lot
Exactly.
of water, which is super important, as I said, because milk requires water to be produced, because milk is water actually, made entire, like mostly of water with vitamins in it, and proteins and carbohydrates and fat. So this is why bone broth and soups are good. Again, oats are good because they are high in proteins. They are a good source of zinc. They are a good source of like, they are very nutritious for your body. They make you feel full. So basically, this is why they're good. مغلي لأنه it has the raw nuts on top, and nuts are really healthy for you. They have
protein.
healthy, and they have healthy fat, both of which you will need to produce better milk. So don't fall for these and don't be scared. It's okay to have مغلي. It's okay if you feel like having مغلي, enjoy it.
بالعكس it's a good source، بس انه مش انه كل
بس
يوم مغلي وتنجبره وتحسوا انه
exactly.
لا مجبورة اكل كل يوم مغلي، وهو بيكون خلص
Yeah.
زهقتوا منه، but you feel like لا I should have it لانه it's good for breast milk. You can have
لا
the proteins
diverse.
and the nuts with something else,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. You can have the nuts as a snack, just alone. You can have the proteins that are. I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
No, I
You
did
could
not
have the
ask the
proteins from
question.
the nuts.
كنت عم بقول انه you can have the proteins from you can have the proteins yes from the nuts without necessarily eating مغلي
Yes,
انه
exactly.
وزيت الشيء بالسوب soup hydration protein carbs, so hydration
هلا
protein
I
carbs.
don't mind. أنا if like I'm really okay with them having soups, because soups are super nutritious and healthy
Yes
as long as
sure بس
homemade, of course. But they
I
need
mean
to
إذا زهقوا
understand.
فاهم يعني إذا حدا زهق
Yes.
من السوب مش مجبور ياكل سوب you
لا
know.
مش مجبور for sure. The only reason why soup helps milk production is because it's healthy when it's homemade. It has a lot of water in
Definitely
it, and it has proteins and healthy vegetables in most soups. Yani you can
definitely
find these. So if you don't want them as a soup and you wanted to have another stew instead, definitely you will have the same result as long as you're drinking enough water.
exactly
That's it. Yeah. So
100%.
that's it basically.
Okay, another question. I gained
يلا.
14 kilograms in my pregnancy and lost them 2 weeks after giving birth without dieting and while breastfeeding. Is it normal?
Uh,
So this
wow, 14
2
kilograms.
weeks, yeah.
Um, Usually we're worried if you lose this much. I don't know. It's really dependent again on what was her weight prior to pregnancy. So if Patricia was always like no, of normal weight and only increased these 14 kilos, yeah, it might be normal to decrease them fast, especially if most of them, because if most of them, like you have the baby weight, which is usually, let's say, around 3.5
Mm,
kilograms, you have water, you have the blood that you will lose, because women add up to 2-3 liters of blood during pregnancy for circulation, because you increase in weight, so you lose
placenta.
a lot of blood. You lose the placenta weight, you lose the water weight that you've added, and you lose the baby weight. So these alone could be like 7 or 8 kilos, and you will still have like 5 or 6. So yeah, 5 or 6 kilos are doable in 2 weeks
Mm,
if she's eating healthy. Sure, it could
okay.
be done. Lucky, lucky
Exactly.
Patricia. Some women take. I have to tell you this. I usually tell women it took you 9 months to gain all this weight, so it's okay to give yourself 9 months to lose this weight.
Mm,
It might take less, like, and it might take more for in some
mm,
cases, but you have to be a little self-loving and understanding that just as I had to cope with my body going up slowly to reach my ninth, I need to cope again with my body going down slowly to reach my weight prior to pregnancy. And if you
okay.
felt like you're not losing any weight, like you reached a point where whatever you're doing, you're not losing weight, seek help. It's okay.
Exactly. Experts
Yeah,
are here to help. Okay. Is high cholesterol common postpartum?
not really. It depends
Okay.
on women, and it depends how much weight they gained, and of course on their genetics and family history, and on their history as well. So if they gained a lot of weight during pregnancy and they started pregnancy with a bit of overweight, and they have cholesterol problems in the family, yes, it might lead to cholesterol problems after post-pregnancy, but it not necessarily for all women.
Okay. 1800 calorie depending on your BMI, right?
No, not depending on the BMI. Don't where is this? Best just like that. No, it's not dependent on the BMI. This is the minimum that women should be eating during
Breastfeeding.
yes, during breastfeeding. So if some women require more, yeah, so if someone is feeling hungry, we give more calories than this, but this is the minimum that you should be having per day for you to be able to supply, to have a good supply of milk, enough for your baby, basically.
Okay. Certain vitamins and minerals, I think, are not present in milk if they are totally not found in mother's diet. فهمت السؤال
Uh,
فاهم؟
so basically, Yimken, she's asking if you lose some vitamins and minerals from the mom's milk if you are not eating them properly. I think this is the question. And usually your milk is not really affected, but most of the time the person who's affected is you. So what happens when you're decreasing or not eating properly all your vitamins and minerals? What usually happens is your body usually prefers the baby over you. So the milk
Mm,
supply will have all the vitamins needed, but the mom might be deficient, might suffer from
okay.
deficiencies from basically after breastfeeding. So you have to make sure that you're eating your quantities for you and also for the milk supply, because the total supply could go down. So how
Mm,
many mLs are coming are you producing per day will be much less if you are not eating properly.
okay. Okay, so I have two questions هنا. One was about what do they need to eat so that they can produce enough milk. So this we talked about this. It's
Mm,
about the frequency of the baby, you putting the baby on the breast, أول شغلة, hydration. Nutrition, we talked about this in terms of calories and then the proteins and carbs. هيدا الشيء اللي مهم. ما في شيء معين specifically that will boost your production. And
mm,
the support أكيد يلي حكيت عنه Pam.
mm, mm.
Now, another question. What is the truth about avoiding some gas-forming foods while lactating?
Okay, so while lactating, okay, I'm gonna
You
explain
know what
something.
they tell the mom, ممنوع تاكلي ملفوف لأنه راح ينمغص البيبي، ممنوع تاكلي بقدونس لأنه مدري شو راح يصير له البيبي، ممنوع تاكلي توم وبصل لأنه مدري شو راح يصير له البيبي.
لكن ما
You know?
بيصيرلوش البيبي. worst case scenario بيعمل شوية غاز. That's not gonna be an issue.
بالعكس that's very good لأنه if the baby
Exactly.
is tasting a lot of stuff then once بيجي على
Exactly.
solids بيتقبلهم كلهم.
Exactly. So we discussed this also last week, I think, with Jennifer
Mm,
from Little Melly Solids. We were talking about breast milk. Usually, some foods can add taste to the breast milk. Usually, strong flavors like onion, garlic, some spices. The baby can feel the effect, the taste of these foods through the breast milk. Also, if the mom is suffering from bloating or gases because of, let's say, because she ate, let's say, cauliflower or some types of beans, and she felt bloated afterwards, or she had some gases afterwards, her baby might feel the same symptoms. But this is okay. This means his digestive system is working. Like producing gas is is how you know that your body is working properly. Like you're digesting, and the bacteria and the colon is digesting properly and releasing all the gases that should be released. So
mm,
there's nothing to worry about unless you feel that the baby really was not okay afterwards. So if you ate something and your baby became colicky, better not eat it and breastfeed. So better breastfeed and then eat it
then eat it.
afterwards to give yourself the time to
Mm,
digest it prior to breastfeeding again. But
mm,
that's it.
mm. Okay, okay.
Definitely
So
don't stop any
there is no
foods.
specific type of food that will make the baby colicky or you. It depends on you what makes
Yes, it's very
what
dependent.
yeah.
Look, everything related to the digestion and to the digestive tract is really subjective. So, if you look at IBS, if you look at all the disease of bloating and of gas, you will see that each person has something that he feels bloated when he eats. There are common foods, of course, that you know are high in fibers, but
Mm,
some people find other sources of food that irritate their stomach versus these types that are already known to irritate the stomach, which causes nothing to them. So you see, it's really
exactly.
dependent on the person
Mm,
and how the mom feels about this and what will happen to the baby. So if she felt some gas and the baby had some gas, but he was not crying, he was not colicky, he was okay, then it's fine. If he was colicky, then maybe cut down on this food, have less
Exactly.
quantities than usual, or as I said, breastfeed, then eat this food type and wait till you breastfeed the second time.
Okay. I have a last question and then we'll move to the questions on the live. Any food supplement to help with postpartum hair loss? This was another question I received.
Yes, actually, I want to talk about this because I'm having this problem myself. It's a huge, huge problem. I think that, uh, like, I talked to so many women who gave birth, my friends, my colleagues, my clients, and all of them agreed that they had a major problem with this. There are no nutritional recommendations for hair loss after pregnancy. Some doctors may recommend some supplementations. I'm not usually pro taking any supplementations unless you really did a blood test and you found that you have a deficiency
A
somewhere.
deficiency.
But most of the time, what you need to be making sure of, the nutrient that you need to be making sure you're eating enough of is iron. So if you are already taking iron supplementation during pregnancy, this is why the doctor will recommend you keep taking your iron supplementation post-pregnancy, not only for the hair, of course, but one of the reasons also is the hair loss. But I usually don't recommend they take any vitamin on their own or based on any friend's recommendation. They could ask their doctor, and if their doctor recommended a multivitamin, they could go for it. As I said, I personally wouldn't unless I did a blood test and I found that, yes, I have a deficiency in X or
Yeah.
Y, and I will take the vitamin accordingly.
Okay.
All
Thank you,
right.
Pam.
You're
We
very
have a
welcome.
question here. What is the percentage of fat and protein in breast milk? For example, after I pump 100 milliliter and put the bottle in the fridge, the fat that separates at the top is a thin layer like 10 milliliters max. Okay. So I'm gonna answer this question. Uh,
I was
so,
waiting for that.
so as a breastfeeding specialist, I can tell you that usually after 2 weeks, of birth, you have something called mature milk, and mature milk is separated into two phases. Okay. When the baby starts sucking at the breast, the baby will be receiving something called fore milk. Okay, fore milk, 90% of it is water. And then at the end of the feed, the last 10 minutes, the baby will be receiving hind milk, which is filled with protein, fat, and carbohydrates. So this is why when you put the milk inside the bottle and you put it in the fridge, you'll see it separate like water
Mm.
and oil. You'll see the fore milk and then the hind milk اللي هي شوي darker أكتر كcolor, and this is very good actually. لأنه you see the difference between the fore milk and hind milk and the watery part and the زباديك protein, carbs, and fat part. So this is actually very, very good.
Okay, هلا I'm
Okay.
gonna add something to it, which is that the percentages of fat, proteins, and carbs changes along the months you're breastfeeding. So when you start, the mother's like subhanallah عن جد, a mom's milk changes according to the baby's
Definitely.
needs. So when he's first born, it's higher in fat, and then it decreases, and fat content decreases and carbohydrates content increases all on its own. The body will change the milk and the percentages to accommodate to the baby needs. So if you want like a summary of this, we can provide it, but it's really, really dependent on the month of breastfeeding, basically.
And this is why we always say that مشان at 5 months breastfeeding is not beneficial anymore لأنه what you are
Mm,
receiving at
mm.
5 months is what the baby needs at 5 months.
Yes, and this
So
also, I want to say something about this. A lot of women, because I usually recommend that you put your milk, like you pump and you freeze your milk. So you have to be careful if you are, if hopefully if you have a lot of supply and you have a lot of milk that's being frozen, it's better to give it to someone if you're not gonna use it, then use the milk from 2 months back to your baby. So if your baby is 5 months old, it's not really beneficial to give like milk from when he was 3 months old, because the composition could be completely different, and it's preferable to give the milk that you are producing now. Basically, yes, that's something very important that I wanted to say.
So donate. If you have milk and you don't know
Donate,
what to do
yes,
with it, donate. لأنه في كتير
exactly.
moms unfortunately couldn't make it for a reason or another for medical conditions and would love to, you know. So this is an option too, يعني. Okay.
All right.
I don't know if حدا بعد عنده سؤال. Anyways, I think we only have 2 minutes left. So Pam, if you could take just
We made it on
summarize.
time.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy. آخر مرة we did it like for an hour and a half, I think.
عن جد.
I'm definitely going to be saving the life, so don't worry about it, and tell your friends about it too.
I
Thank
hope you
you, Pam.
benefited, guys, the maximum. And if you need anything else, if you had any other questions that you forgot to ask, feel free to ask me on my direct message. Again, my account is the Dietologist, the Dietologist, and that's it basically.
Thank you, Pam. See
Much
you.
love,
Bye.
حبيبي.
وبوصيلة. Bye.
وصل. Bye
Bye,
bye.
حبيبي. Bye.